Carrie, where are you?
St. Louis.
St. Louis, welcome. I'm north of Boston, Lancashire, Minnesota, London, Burnsville. Judy from Brooklyn, hello. Virginia, Boston, Ottawa, Colorado, Netherlands, welcome. Halifax, Wales, Orlando, Newport Beach, Kentucky. Oh, some of the names I can't say. Walnut Creek, welcome everybody. These numbers are going to keep rising. More and more of you are going to join, but we're going to get started. Connor, I think we're ready to start.
All right, have a good show, everybody. In 5, 4, 3.
Welcome, everyone. The Trauma Research Foundation joyfully welcomes you to our new series, Integrate, a mind-body practice for working through trauma. We're so excited that you're here. Inspired by the insights of our founder, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, and his groundbreaking book, The Body Keeps the Score, Integrate invites you to reconnect with the parts of yourself that may have been set aside or overlooked and embrace the more curious, more connected you. In this safe and supportive space, you'll have the opportunity to move, explore, and uncover the deep connection between your mind and your body. Together, we'll engage in virtual body-based sessions led by experts in trauma and movement. Whether you support others in their healing journey or focus on your own, there's something valuable for everyone. Come as you are and stay to discover who you were meant to be. If you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, consider subscribing to the TRF channel. It lets them know that you find this content valuable and they'll show it to more people. From the Trauma Research Foundation, I'm your host, Mary Frangie, and working behind the scenes, I'm joined by our awesome team, Carrie Cyrus, Connor McCann, Liz Coda, and Tammy Cassidy. We're going to be practicing trauma-informed presence during this session. So that means we're going to turn the chat off during the guided portions to support connection to ourselves without distraction or impulsive reactions. We're also going to have time for a short Q&A at the end of the session. So you're welcome to put your questions in the Q&A box if you're here on Zoom. And if you're in other platforms like YouTube, just write it in the chat. I'm very, very excited to introduce Julie Fernandez from Exhale to Inhale. This session is called Embodied Empowerment, Trauma-Informed Yoga for Everyday Resilience. Julie Fernandez is a somatic trauma recovery practitioner, embodiment guide, and educator. A first-generation Latina and a survivor herself, Julie brings a grounded, compassionate presence rooted in lived experience and extensive training in somatic experiencing, family constellations, expressive movement therapies, and trauma-informed care. She serves as the lead trainer and director of curriculum development and mentorship at Exhale to Inhale, which she'll tell us a little more about shortly. There, she develops trauma-informed programs for survivors and professionals. Her work is grounded in deep commitment to nervous system healing, embodiment, and liberation, especially for those who have been historically silenced or underserved. Julie also runs private practice called Meta Healing Arts, where she guides clients through somatic integration and embodied healing. Julie, we are so grateful you are here to serve our community. Thank you. I pass it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you all. It's so nice to be here. Like, truly, I'm so excited and a little bit nervous. So you might see me like get the wiggles out, but that's all part of what we're doing today. So it actually works out. I think that's probably why I really love doing this work, because I get to work through my own stuff in real time as well. But I am so excited because I also think that like we're all here, like we were all brought together through The Body Keeps the Score. So that's so cool that we all have something in common. And, you know, whether you are a regular practitioner of yoga or this is your first time, you are welcome here for this trauma-informed yoga practice. We're going to use it as a tool for everyday resilience. I want to share my agenda with you all so you know what to expect from our time together. I do have some slides we'll go through, but I promise I'll try not to talk for too long so we can get into the practice. So for today, I want to share a little bit more about what trauma-informed yoga is, and specifically how it differs from mainstream yoga approaches. And then we're gonna spend the rest of our time together in an experiential practice. So we'll get to put together a yoga practice, and then we'll end with Q&A. So first, I want to share a little bit about Exhale to Inhale, which is an organization that I've been with for the last 11 plus years. But Exhale to Inhale was founded in 2013 as a way to empower survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault through trauma-informed yoga. And we offer free classes in shelters, on college campuses, and community centers. And we also have free weekly public online classes. We also help communities develop the skills they need to support survivors through our 16-hour training. And I personally got involved with Exhale to Inhale over 11 years now because as a survivor myself, I know that this work changes lives. So I'm so excited to share it with you all. And so first, let's talk about what does it mean to be trauma informed. What I like to say is that being trauma informed is really about being people informed. When we're trauma informed, we understand the prevalence of trauma and how it impacts. So we're mindful of the way that trauma manifests for us. And we really recognize that symptoms are not our personality. They're not character traits, that they are a result of experiencing something really horrific. So when we're trauma informed, we can really go from asking maybe with judgment, like what's wrong with you, to instead asking what may have happened to you. And so we can meet each other with compassion, but it's not just about other people. So today we're going to be practicing trauma-informed yoga and finding compassion for ourselves. So when we are trauma-informed, we're better able to understand ourselves and our reactions and our behaviors as we experience this like complex human experience. And when we're better able to understand ourselves, we're better able to understand each other, and we can meet each other with compassion. So being trauma-informed is really about creating an environment that supports healing and reduces harm. And we'll talk more about what all that means, and we're going to experience it together. So I'm kind of running through this a little bit quickly. But because trauma is a somatic reaction and it gets registered as sensations in the body, we cannot simply think or talk our way out of it. Trauma stays in the body until it is released. And yoga is a practice that integrates the body, mind, and emotions, which is critical because survivors often disconnect from their bodies and sensations as a way to protect themselves. And so trauma disconnects and yoga reconnects, yoga integrates. So another thing with yoga that we're going to practice today is yoga helps to build interoception. And interoception is the ability to feel what's happening inside. This is like the internal sense of things like hunger or a heartbeat or breath or tension in the body. This is how you notice when you're thirsty or when you're anxious or at ease. And yoga also helps to build present moment awareness, which is mindfulness. And mindfulness has been known to reduce reactivity in the brain. So the truth is, though, that yoga, while offered as a resource, can also be a trigger for some. And it can often be both at the same time. And I'll share personal experience. You know, when I first did yoga about, I think 17 years ago now, I didn't really know what it was. And my friend invited me to a yoga class. She'd been doing yoga. I didn't really know anything about it. It sounded fun. So I went with her to this yoga class and I hated it. It was awful. One of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life. But of course, no one knew that. I was suffering on the inside all alone. I was watching everyone else around me really enjoy this practice and be all blissed out. And I didn't really understand what was happening until later when I realized I was triggered. Yoga was an experience where I was in my body for the first time in probably decades. I spent over 20 plus years in survival mode, really disconnected from my body, like completely disassociated. And when I went to this yoga class, I was now with all of the pain in my body, all the tension, the effect of all the like self-harm. I had an eating disorder at the time and was experiencing depression. And so now I was with all of that pain and I didn't know how to hold it all. Like there was a reason why I dissociated. So I want to share this quote, the same practice that is soothing, calming, and comforting to you can be uncomfortable, upsetting, and triggering to someone else. And this is why you must listen to your students and clients and get curious about the cultures that they're steeped in. And for you, your experience, like this is why you need to get curious about your experience, about your body, and then we make adjustments. Because the truth is that with some simple yet significant adjustments, yoga can be offered in a trauma-informed way to heal and empower survivors. And, you know, really like yoga inherently is trauma-informed, but the way that it is practiced in the West, like it has really become unrecognizable. And like mainstream yoga often emphasizes performance, flexibility, and aesthetics. And that's not what trauma-informed yoga is. It really centers safety, connection, simplicity, and choice. And it really, one thing to like remember is that yoga or trauma-informed yoga is not about what it looks like. It really isn't. Like the poses are only held to have a felt experience and learn how to be with ourselves in that moment. So the same way that we adapt for a physical injury, we adapt yoga to accommodate for the impact of trauma. So instead of adapting ourselves to meet the practice, to fit into yoga, we adapt yoga so that it fits with us, so that it can support us. So what makes trauma-informed yoga different is that it centers the survivor's experience and allows the participant to make choices about what they want to do with their body and how. So a big part of what makes an event or experience traumatic is the inability to make choices about what happens to us. And when our agency is taken away, then it can leave us feeling helpless and hopeless. So our goal with trauma-informed yoga is to bring choice back. So I want to briefly go through these like core components because these are what we're going to practice today. So there are 4 core components to trauma-informed yoga. We have safety, connection, simplicity, and choice. And they're very simple. Safety is the most important, I would say. I mean, they're all important, but the truth is that without safety, there really is no impact. Because if we don't feel safe, then we stay mobilized to meet the threat. We stay in our survival mode, and our body stays in that protective posture. So something we have to do is to build trust and safety with ourselves. And we do this through non-harming, right? In yoga, we call that ahimsa. But this is about building trust with yourself. And through consistent and gentle pacing, we can do that. Not engaging in any practice in any shape that may be causing harm, that forces you to push through. Like I did in my first yoga class, I just like pushed through that. And that actually was more harmful for me. And so then connection is about reconnecting with ourselves. So it's about the integration piece, right? Where we connect with our body, we connect with our mind, our emotions, our spirit. We also can connect with the world around us. And interoception is how we do it. And we also, this part is about letting ourselves know that that our needs matter. And that actually also leads into simplicity, which is all about making the practice accessible. Again, we adapt the practice to meet our needs. So really meeting yourself where you're at, and going slowly. This is going to reduce overwhelm and stress, which we want to do, because that is going, if we're overwhelmed and stressed, that activates our trauma responses. So a big part of simplicity is understanding what you're doing and why. And we're going to practice all of this. Finally, choice. As I said, trauma is an experience where choice was taken away. So we are taking choice back. And this is all about feeling empowered, feeling in control of our body, our experience, and our interactions. And so instead of being told what to do, you're offered options, and you get to decide what feels supportive, what doesn't, and like when to pause and or adjust. And trauma-informed yoga teachers, we use invitational and empowering language in classes to create the space for survivors to experience this shift, to feel empowered and center agency. So one last thing that I'll share, because we are practicing for everyday resilience, I want to make sure we're clear and we know what that means. So a healthy nervous system is not one that doesn't experience activation. A healthy nervous system is one that experiences activation and then settles after activation. So resilience really is the capacity to come back to center after experiencing disruptions, after experiencing stress or overwhelm. And we stay in connection with our body, our breath, with our values, even when life pulls us off track, right? So in trauma-informed yoga, this is something that we cultivate slowly over time by noticing what's happening inside of us and responding with presence. And what that looks like is maybe like feeling activation without immediately reacting, being able to slow down, to pause and choose how to respond, and coming back to ourselves after experiencing a little bit of distress or dysregulation without any judgment. And so this is what we're going to practice today. We're going to, I think I'll stop sharing my screen. We're going to practice in 3 phases. Actually, we're going to build our practice really slowly, and we'll take our time with this. So if you're interested in joining me, the first part of our practice is we're going to practice presence and orientation. So this is where we get to practice safety and simplicity. And our goal here is just to cultivate awareness without any pressure. We're just simply going to arrive. So I invite you here, before we do anything else, let's orient to the room. So we're just going to take a moment to look around the room, turn your head to one direction, and noticing any colors, any texture, light, sounds, and you make your way through the room, looking up and down, and slowly making your way to the other side, just taking in the room, taking in the space. Maybe noticing the exits. Maybe you can sense the temperature in the room. And then as you do that, I invite you to notice your body supported by the surface beneath you, behind you if you have that. And maybe allowing your feet to connect with the ground, and getting the sense for that connection with the ground beneath you, whether it's through your feet or the chair, the seat that you're in, and bringing attention to your spine. And without changing anything, just bring attention to your breath. You don't have to notice, you don't have to change anything. We're just simply noticing, maybe noticing where in your body you feel your breath, perhaps noticing a rhythm. noticing a texture, whatever is available to you. And we're just going to take one more conscious breath here. And then I'm going to invite you to come into the chat. We're going to have a little discussion. I am curious, did you notice anything shift as you began to pay attention? Maybe sharing one word or two. You noticed anything that shifted for you just in that practice? I took a deeper breath, a sense of calm, relaxed. I melted. I love that. Focused more, felt safe, openness, relaxation, felt centered. Wow, this is so fast. Peaceful, space, present, more focus. I yawned too. Love it. That's such a good sign. The body's releasing there. My hands got heavy, comfortable, present, content, calm, comfort. Oh, I love this so much. So this is the point. It can be really, really simple. When we show up as a safe presence for ourselves, so much can change, so much can shift, right? My mind went quiet. Beautiful. Amazing. Well, let's keep building. Let's keep building. So we'll turn the chat off and we'll come back into the practice. So the second part, what we're going to focus on is connection piece. So we are going to connect our movement with our breath. And the goal here is to build this internal connection through gentle movement synced with the breath. So first we're going to start with, I'll move back a little bit, just so I have a little bit more room here with my legs. But we're just going to start really simply with just some shoulder rolls here, just rolling our shoulders maybe up and back. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Also, everyone has their own unique practice and everyone has unique needs. So everyone's practice will probably look different. But in this, I invite you to notice if you prefer making big circles or smaller circles. Notice if you prefer to go fast or slow. There's no right or wrong. It's only what feels right for your body. And if you're going in one direction, maybe we can experiment with going in the opposite direction. Notice if that makes any difference. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And I invite you here to notice how movement maybe changes your breath or how the breath guides the movement. Maybe you notice that, maybe you don't. And we'll take maybe 2 more round trips here with our shoulder circles. And then letting the shoulders just relax, just hang heavy here. Notice what happens next. From here, we're going to turn our head to look over one shoulder. Doesn't matter which, because we're going to do both, and go only as far as you feel comfortable. And notice what happens when you arrive there. What do you notice with your breath?
It started.
When you're ready, we're slowly going to make our way to center, and then we're going to make our way towards the other shoulder, looking over the other shoulder. Again, only going as far as you feel comfortable, as far as is available to you, and notice what happens there. What do you notice with your breath here? And when you're ready, we'll come back to center. Now we're going to connect this movement with our breath. If you'd like to join me, we'll take an inhale here at the center, and then as we exhale, we're going to turn towards one side. Inhale back to center, and exhale, turn to the other side. We'll do that 3 more times. Inhaling to center, exhaling to the side. Again, going at your own pace, moving with your breath
I feel like
and
a
your body,
machine.
whatever way it needs. And if we need to make it even, I should have said 4, so let's finish.
I feel like
Make
an
it
inclined
even.
door hinge.
And we'll come back to center. We'll take a moment to just pause and let it settle. We'll take an opportunity to just notice here. We'll see whatever it is that you do notice.
It's fun.
We're just observing. And then from here, we're gonna get a little bit bigger with the movement. We're gonna start or reach with our arms. We're gonna reach up towards the sky with our arms. Maybe you notice a stretch here through your side body. Maybe you feel it through your back. Lengthening here, reaching up towards the sky, and then releasing our arms down by our side, letting the shoulders drop. We're gonna do that again, this time with our breath, inhaling as we reach our arms up towards the sky, and exhaling, releasing our arms down by our side. We'll do that again. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, release down. And I invite you to continue this movement with your breath at your own pace.
I just imagine doing this in a room
Inhaling
full
as
of
you
people
reach your
farting.
arms up and exhaling down. Or maybe notice if your body prefers a different rhythm. Again, there's no right or wrong here. It's simply about finding what works best for you. And we'll do 3 more. Of course, you're welcome to pause at any time. You can stop at any point and just rest here.
I'm a bird.
2 more.
It's actually kind of a workout for my arms.
And last one.
And I did pull-ups and push-ups this morning.
Beautiful. Let your body settle here. Shake it out if you need to. I just cracked everywhere in my body. My neck just released so much. We're going to do one more thing, connecting our breath with our movement. From here, we're going to let our hands rest at our knee for just a moment, because when you're ready, we're going to extend our hands past our knees. So now our arms are straight. We can let our hands relax. Our fingers can relax here, maybe feeling them around our knees. And from this posture with straight arms, we're going to start to tuck our chin in towards our chest, rounding through our back, and noticing the stretch here that you might feel in your back body, and just breathing with it. There's nothing to do with our breath just yet. We're just noticing and breathing here. We'll take one more breath.
How I do some of these.
Then when you're ready, we'll
already.
lift up our head and
Just
our
naturally.
chest, our shoulders here. We're gonna bend our elbows now.
I'm
And send our
naturally.
elbows back behind us, past our rib cage. Maybe your hands slide down your leg or up towards your leg. And notice the stretch here, maybe through the front body. And we're finding our breath here.
Yeah, I do this too. Awesome.
We'll take one more breath, because now we're going to combine everything and move with our breath. So we'll use our breath to support this movement. We'll take an inhale here, and then as we exhale, we'll slide our hands forward, straightening our arms, rounding through our back, dropping our chin down towards our chest. And then on your next inhale, bending the elbows, sending them back behind you, lifting to the chest and the heart, arching here. And we'll continue this movement. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, lifting up, looking up. And exhale, round. We'll do 3 more. You're welcome to move at your own pace. Remember to only go as far as you feel comfortable, as far as is available to you. Maybe last one. Beautiful. And slowly coming back to center, maybe shaking it out, taking a moment to let the body settle, and then just notice here. So we'll open the chat again. And what I am curious about here is, how did it feel to move with your breath? Did your body want more, less, or something different? What did you notice? Just a word or two. Lighter, I yawned a lot. More movement, become tired, flowing. So much release, rhythm, in control of self, got sleepy, more arching. I noticed tingling in my feet. Relaxed, yawn, relief. The breath supports the body. Feels unfamiliar, more relaxed, release of tension, empowered. Needed to go slower, more awakened, invigorated, more energy, aware. Wow, beautiful. Again, and this is what happens when we
Body
connect with
stiffness.
ourselves. We get to experience ourselves. We get to be with ourselves. And this, again, communicates that like sense of safety and trust, right? We get to know ourselves. And part of that was learning what our body needs and working to honor that. But this is a practice, right? This is something that we have to practice because we spent a long time probably avoiding and ignoring what's happening in our body and not really knowing how to respond to it. So we're practicing together. I'm so glad that you're here. So let's continue then. We're gonna now go into more of, I'll call this an empowered flow. This is where we get to practice choice making and self-authority. So the goal here is to practice listening more inwardly and to make choices based on those internal cues. So give yourself some space. We will be extending the legs here. So just make sure you have some room for your legs that work with what you have. I'm sitting on like a little tiny stool. So you might be sitting in something really different. So you'll make it work for your body and what you have available to you here. We're going to start really simply here. We're going to go into a seated twist. And maybe let's just continue on with what we did with the arms reaching. We're going to inhale, reach our arms up towards the sky. And then we're going to turn towards one side, release our arms down. So now they rest here. This just got us in the position for the twist. We're just sitting here in a simple twist and using our hands for support. The arm behind you can support you whatever way you need, whatever is available to you. And the arm at the front is just simply resting here. Maybe you can press gently into your leg to help you enter the twist. But only go as far as you feel comfortable. And we're just noticing our breath here. Maybe as you inhale, think about lengthening your spine. And as you exhale, releasing the breath, just softening in the body. We'll take 3 more breaths here. Notice how far your body wants to go and just staying there, not pushing past where it feels most comfortable. And we'll do 1 more. When you're ready, maybe with an inhale, we reach our arms up towards the sky as we come back to center. And then exhale, we turn towards the other side, coming into a twist here, releasing our arms down. The back hand is there for support in whatever way you need. And we're just breathing here.
I feel a lot of tightness.
Inhaling as we lengthen our spine. Exhaling, softening through our bodies. And again, only going as far as you feel comfortable, as far as is available to you. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. When you're ready, we're going to come back to center. Maybe with an inhale, we reach our arms up towards the sky. And exhale, release our arms back down by our side. From here, we're going to grab a hold of the seat on the side. So the side of the chair, the seat. If you don't have that available to you, you can bring your hands underneath your leg, and we're just going to hold that arm in place there. So once that's settled, once that's ready, you're going to lean away slightly, right? You'll notice your edges because it's right before where we fall. We want to stay there. And then we drop the opposite ear down towards our shoulder. So we're getting a stretch through that side. And we're just breathing here. Notice how far you want to go here and make choices based on that. You can go all the way into the stretch. You can stay a little bit closer towards your center. There's no right or wrong. And we're just breathing here. We'll take 1 more breath here. We'll bring everything back to center, release that arm, and now that arm is going to reach up towards the sky, and we're going to lean towards the opposite side. So now we get a stretch through that side body here. Notice how that may feel for you, and notice how far your body is ready to go to lean towards that side. Wherever you are, we're going to take 2 more breaths here. Last one. Beautiful. And slowly come back to center. Shake it out. You need to take a moment to just notice, just checking in, noticing how one side might feel different than the other side. Maybe you notice a difference, maybe you don't. We're just simply observing, checking inward. When you're ready, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to bring the other hand to grab a hold of the side of the seat that we're in. Again, if that's not available to you, you can simply bring that hand underneath your leg to just hold it in place there. When that feels secure, I'm going to lean away and only go as far as available to you. We don't want to fall off our seat. So it's important for us to gauge that. And then when you find that stretch, that lean, we're going to drop that ear down towards the shoulder. We're going to get a stretch through the side of the neck, the shoulder, the arm, and we're just breathing with it. Notice how far your body is willing to go, how much of a stretch is available here for you, and just breathing with it. We'll take 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center. Release that arm. We're going to raise our arm up towards the sky this time. And we're going to lean towards the other side, getting a stretch through the side body, finding our breath, noticing the sensations here and making choices based on that. So only going as far as you're able to go, as far as is accessible, as far as you feel comfortable, and just breathing here. We'll take 1 more breath. And slowly come back to center. And we can shake it out. Check in with the body. Notice if there's any movement that your body needs or wants in this moment. And maybe you can find a way to honor that. One last thing that we'll do here is we're going to practice folding forward. So if it's available to you, we're going to extend our legs out in front of us. Our heels are resting on the ground, toes pointing up towards the sky. And you might already notice how this stretch feels for you. If you'd like to add a little bit of a bend to your knees, you're welcome to do so. And we're just sitting up nice and tall, lengthening through our spine, finding our breath first. If this feels like enough of a stretch for you, you're welcome to stay here. If you'd like to go a little bit further, then I invite you to think about sending your chest down towards your knees, folding forward. Any amount works here. So noticing the sensations here, making choices based on those sensations, and only going as far as is available to you, as far as feels comfortable. And wherever you are, we'll find our breath here. Noticing if there's any tension or tightness in our neck, shoulders, and maybe we can soften here. Just finding our breath. As you start to feel more comfortable, maybe you can start folding a little bit more. But again, only go at your pace and only do what feels comfortable and what's available for you. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. After that 3rd breath, we're slowly going to make our way back up. Beautiful. Bending your knees, maybe planting your feet back on the ground, and just taking a moment to let your body settle. And we're just simply noticing here. We'll do a quick check-in here. Maybe a word or two. What supported your sense of empowerment or agency in that practice? What supported your sense of empowerment or agency in that practice? Beautiful. Words like I invite you to, having permission, space to release, relaxation, choice, my choice, how far to go, focus on the breath, trusting myself, tuning in, your words, focus on core muscles, opportunity, only going as far as feels safe, many prompts to listen to self, listening to my body, autonomy, control, respecting my boundaries. Oh, I love that. So that just made me emotional, actually. Embraced, find breath here, what was available, relaxed, going as slow as my body wanted, permission to ground, capacity to choose it. How beautiful. Choice in how far I went, seeing how much tension is on one side of my body.
Yeah, lots of tension.
Just noticing, permission to choose. This is all that we practice today. We practice safety, simplicity, connection, and choice making. That's what makes a practice trauma informed. So with that, and I can't believe I'm on time, Mary, but we'll move on to the next section. Oh, seeing your cat and then closing my eyes. I love that. Oliver loves to join in sometimes. I'm so glad that was a resource for you. I'll tell him later.
Thank you. This has been really great, and now we have time for some questions. So for everyone watching, if you have a question, please drop it in the Q&A if you're in Zoom, or drop it in the chat if you're on YouTube, and we'll get to as many as we can. And Julie, can you start by helping us understand, if I just go to my regular yoga class, can I practice trauma-informed yoga there, and how do I?
Absolutely. It's actually even more necessary because not every yoga teacher is trauma informed. So it's really important that you understand what your body needs, right? So like I said before, it's the same way that we would adapt a personal training session, a gym session. If we have a physical injury, how can you adapt your yoga practice for to accommodate for the impact of how you've been impacted by trauma, right? So it really is about learning how to listen to your body and making choices based on that. So maybe you don't go as far into a posture as, the other people in class, or maybe your body wants to do something completely different. Maybe it wants to stay in child's pose for, 10 minutes instead of moving on to whatever the yoga teacher had in mind for their sequence, right? So it really is just about listening and tuning in. That's why we spent a lot of time doing that today.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And what about my yoga teacher? Should I talk to her about trauma-informed yoga?
I don't think you talk to her. This is my opinion. I don't think you would talk to the yoga teacher about trauma-informed yoga, but if you want, I think it could be helpful to let your yoga teacher know that you're going to be participating, but you're listening to your body, and so you might make different choices than what is being presented. I think I've seen this a lot where yoga teachers can often get frazzled when the students in their class are not doing what they told them to do. And notice what I said, what they told them to do, because that's also part of what can cause a lot of harm in a yoga class. And I also had experiences where a yoga teacher touched me and made an adjustment even after I said, no, thank you. And he came in anyway. He said, no, you need to go. And I was going into a wheel, and he came in and touched my body. And as a survivor, like, that's not okay. I've already been violated so much. Like, this is not okay. And then I had another yoga teacher, and this was early on in my yoga exploration. Another teacher yelled at me for drinking water during class. It was like a boot camp or something. Wild. So yeah, just letting the teacher know, like, hey, I know what I'm doing, and I'm gonna make the best choice for my body throughout this class.
Yeah, that's really great language. Thank you so much. Carrie has some questions. We've got some questions in the chat.
Yeah, thank you, Mary, and thank you. Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm just there's so many questions. Here's one from Sarita. Is this a practice I could utilize in therapy with clients, or do I have to be trained in the practice of yoga?
No, not at all. I mean, what did we do together? We took breaths and we stretched.
On a chair.
Right? So that's really all it takes. It's about connecting with the body and then just like noticing what it may need there. So we hold a lot of tension in our shoulders typically. So doing these like simple shoulder rolls, or just like stretching, reaching the arms up and releasing, like you don't need a yoga certification to do that, right? I think what's most important in any therapeutic relationship is the connection and the trust that you build with each other, right? And as a therapist, really learning how to listen. So if you're paying attention to your client, then you'll also get a better sense of like what would be most supportive there, what they need. So you might notice that they're holding their breath, and you can just invite them to take a breath with you. I think that's a really simple and beautiful, like really effective way to help somebody using these tools. Or if like you notice they're really maybe what's the word, just like really tense here, you can invite them to just open up and soften. And it would be an invitation, right? Like I said that. I'm so used to just talking this way, but like, yeah, you invite them to join you, like do it with them. I think that also creates a deeper connection with your client.
Thanks. I think this question goes to what you just said, but Frankie's asking, I noticed fear come up as soon as I put my awareness into my body. What can I do when this comes up?
Find something to ground with. So maybe connecting with the support that you feel from the surface beneath you, right? Wherever you're sitting, or if you're standing, so feeling your feet on the floor, and then just coming back to yourself. And really what this is, like, we're showing ourselves that we are a safe person. Like, I'm not going to hurt me. I'm just here with this. I'm going to hold myself through this, right? And just maybe breathing there. Just what we don't want to do is go into our trauma response. So notice what that's like for you. Maybe you hold your breath, maybe you tense your body, and we want to do the opposite.
Stop breathing.
You want to slowly get there, right? It might not be available to you to just completely open the body, right? But if we're here and we just kind of maybe open one shoulder at a time, that's okay too. But we all have different resources, and resources are anything, whether internal or external, that gives us a sense of safety, peace, and calm. And I think it's important for us to know what those are for us, because a resource for me might be my favorite blankie, but yours is like smelling flowers. Like, great, find that, right? Like, we need to know what those are, right? So that's what I would suggest there, is find resources. That's what helps us come back to our center. So like I said before, what a healthy nervous system is one that gets activated, right? There's activation in our system, but then we also come down. What helps us come down are the resources. So I think it's important that we find that for ourselves.
Thank you.
I feel really good after that.
Oh, go ahead. Before you go to the next question, I just want to let people know that the link to Julie's slides is in the chat. And if you're watching the replay later, it's down in the show notes. So the links to her slides are available, and also links to Exhale to Inhale. Lots of people are asking about how do I become a trauma-informed yoga teacher. So there are links to Exhale to Inhale in the show notes and also in the chat. And if you don't catch it now while you're watching live, you can come back to the Somatic Library and find all the information linked there in the replay. Thanks.
Thank you, Mary. Well, actually, I'll ask that question right now. Could you talk a little bit about the 16-hour program at an exhale to inhale?
Sure. So yeah, we have a 16-hour training program, and that is, you don't have to be a yoga teacher to attend. We often have, mental health professionals. We have educators that take our training, and dancers, even just anyone, people who work with the body, really just anyone who wants to learn how to be more trauma informed and take these tools and use them anywhere. Like, I know that one of the things that I am really passionate about, I think is really important, is that we learn how to take these tools outside of therapy, outside of the therapy room, and out off of our mat. So these tools are we show how to use them in any scenario. Like, how do we be trauma informed? Yes, in the yoga classroom, but in our interactions with folks. And a lot of it has to do, a lot of people mentioned it, like my language is a big part of it, right? So it's understanding the language and how to create space for folks to heal, but more importantly, how to not cause more harm. So the training is done. We have some in person in the New York area, but we also have virtual. And our next training is coming up, I believe in November. I think we might shift it to December. I'm not sure yet. But if you go to Exhale to Inhale, all that information will be there. And if you stay connected with our social media, we also post updates there, any classes, any offerings that we have.
Thank you, Julie. Someone's also asking about working with new moms, sort of pregnant, postpartum, or pregnant women, moms.
Is there like a specific question about
No,
it?
can you do this type of yoga with them?
Absolutely. Again, it's all about trusting that the student, the practitioner, is the expert of their own experience. And what we're doing is we're empowering them to make the best choice for them. So if we keep the focus on interoception, on listening inward, and we continue to invite them to listen inward, then they'll make the best choice for themselves there. They won't go further. And we get that question, or that hasn't come up in a long time actually in one of my trainings, but it used to come up so much, where a lot of teachers or the trainees, they would ask about injury or making these like adjustments. And the truth is that if we're listening to our body, then we won't push it that far. We won't make those mistakes right in the class. And so that's why the emphasis is on interoception, inviting the student, the practitioner, to really listen inward, and then to empower them, encourage them to make the best choice for themselves.
Thank you. Jessica is asking, as a facilitator, how do you correct positioning to avoid further physical injury, but maintain a trauma-informed approach?
Love it. That actually applies to what I just said. So when you see something that might look a little scary, is the best word, then we use our words, we use our cues. So you might say there, notice where your foot is in position to your knee or something, right? Whatever it is. And then you can say, what would happen if you move that foot in a couple of inches? Does that feel any different? Right? Or something like that. So you bring attention to the present moment, to what is happening right here, right now. And then you suggest a shift, and then you get them to think about what they just did and if it was helpful and if it was not. Now they know their body. And they know that, oh, my body doesn't like it when it's in this position, but it likes it better when it's in this one. Right? So we use our word.
Thank you. We have a lot of questions trying to go through here. Mary, do you have one here? A lot of people asking about the training, which is so exciting.
So exciting.
Is there a book or resources to learn or practice more? Do you have a book, any books that you want to recommend about trauma-informed yoga?
There's so many. Trauma informed. So I have this like thing where I know exactly where every book is. But Zabi Yamasaki wrote a book, Trauma Informed Yoga. This is for survivors of sexual assault. This is a really great resource. I'm trying to think of another one. So now I don't know where that one is, but actually, who was it? I think it was Dr. Gail Parker who wrote a book called, maybe I can send you the resources. It's called Restorative Yoga for Ethnic and Race-Based Stress. I don't know where that one is on my shelf, but that's a really good one. It's by Dr. Gail Parker, Restorative Yoga for Ethnic and Race-Based Stress and Trauma. I think those are really good.
Could you say it one more time, Julie? I'm gonna Google it and bring it up.
Restorative Yoga for Ethnic and Race-Based Stress and Trauma by Dr. Gail Parker.
And Sarah is asking, how often do you recommend to practice trauma-informed yoga?
I think you can practice trauma-informed anything every day, all day. That's my favorite answer. So, you know, one thing, I remember hearing this before. I think it was like one of my colleagues, this is maybe like 10 years ago. I remember him saying to somebody, it is more helpful to practice yoga, just yoga in general, for 7 minutes every single day than it is for you to experience yoga for 1 hour once a week. And I agree with that. So don't think about it as like, I have to go take a yoga class and I can only go on Wednesday, so I'm only practicing on Wednesday. It's what can you do every single day to check in with yourself, connect with your body, continue to build trust and prove to yourself that you're a safe person by listening to your needs and honoring your needs, by simply just like holding space for yourself and making choices. Of course, that was like the main thing, right, that we were practicing. It's making choices based on our internal experience and based on our needs.
Thank you.
And it's a practice. We make that clear too. It's a practice because we're not going to get it right all the time. And like for me, for example, I was disconnected from my body for over 20 years. So I didn't know what my body needed. I didn't know what it liked. Also, I hated everything. I didn't want to feel. Like it hurt, everything hurt. So it really was about going slowly and only, and knowing how much I could tolerate without going into like a panic attack or anxiety or anything like that.
Yeah, that's great wisdom, practicing a few minutes a day. And Vanya is asking a question similar to what you're talking about. How do you encourage a client to do the exercises without pressuring them? How do we encourage our clients this way?
I would say, first of all, it's an invitation. I think trying it together because they'll have a shift, right? So notice what we did together. All we did in the very first part, we looked around the room, felt our body in the chair, and just noticed that we were breathing. We didn't do anything. There was nothing changed, right? And so many people felt a shift. And it was great, right? So when they have that experience of like, oh, this could be helpful, they're more likely to do it again. So do it with them and show them that this can be helpful. And then they're more likely to do it again, right? Like we won't ever want to do something that doesn't feel good. Show them how good it can feel and they'll want to do it again.
Yeah, perfect. For sure. Thank you.
I'm going to do it again.
Do we have time for one more?
I think kind of big. One more. Yes.
Okay.
Theory.
May be kind of a big one, but this is Elena. How do you work with the body posture of shame?
Oh,
This is a big question from the last 2 minutes.
that is a really big question. Well, first of all, I'll say everyone experiences shame in a very different way. So I think we need to really know how someone embodies shame and then that's the protective posture, right? So we're in protective posture, which means that our nervous system, our body doesn't feel safe. So we want to bring in that sense of safety, because that's the only way that the body's going to release that posture. So we bring in safety. What does that look like? It can look like so many different things. Again, it could be just simply orienting to the room and realizing like, oh, I'm safe here. Like there's no bear, there's no tiger, right? Like Peter Levine. And then reconnecting with the breath. I mean, really, so shame also wants to keep us hidden. It wants to keep us in secret, right? And so what we want to do is show that we can be seen, we can be here, we can exist, and it's safe to do that. So simply staying and not like hiding is gonna already start to shift that internally in us. But I guess like the simplest ways I would say, like, how can we find safety? How can we bring in safety? Is that through the breath? Is that through connecting with the ground? Is that through connection with someone else, right? Like someone else saying like, hey, you belong here. Like, hey, you are perfect just the way you are. That can be really helpful. That's such a big question. I feel like I have so much more to say.
Thank you.
Julie, you've been amazing, and this has really been such a wonderful session. We are so appreciative of you spending your time and your wisdom with us today. Thank you to our audience. Integrate strives to offer you a variety of body-based approaches that support trauma treatment and are inspired by The Body Keeps the Score. So join us every month for a new presenter and a new modality. You can always find all of the replays of the sessions at traumaresearchfoundation.org in our somatic library. We look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you. Bye.
You all.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Clear.
Lots of appreciation coming up in the chat. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Amazing session. Thank you. Thank you so much. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Carrie.